Brandon Gypsy Wana. Here. Floyd Kirk Jr.
Here.
Dallas Owen. A. Lydia Amos.
Here.
Louis Johnson. Dion Crawford.
Here.
Tribal Secretary.
Here.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman.
Here.
Tribal Chairman.
Here.
Curtis Bissonette.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Lindsay, for the roll call for us. Can you please note in our minutes that Louis Johnson is excused for illness? And at this time, I'm going to call upon Tribal Secretary to start us in a good way with the opening prayer.
Good morning, Dr. I come before you this day and others to ask you in a good way to hear our prayers that are in our hearts and minds. I pray to you, O Kantika, you would look down upon each of us here today, that you would bless us with your guidance and wisdom, and open our minds to discernment for the greater good of our nation. I pray to you, Kashina, O Kantika, that you would bless all those that cannot be here and partake in this meeting. I pray for healing, for good health for the nation, and people that are ill from the COVID coronavirus. I pray to you, Kantika, that you would bless our decision making today with clarity and understanding. I pray to you for the children of the tribe, the elders of the tribe, and all those that are struggling in one way or another with incarceration, illness, poverty. Pray that you will be with our people and bless our people and help our people. We pray for strength, unity, healing, understanding, and good thoughts and actions for all people that are in the decision-making roles. You know, we'll put a tanka for hearing our prayer today. Dania,
Thank you, Madam Secretary, for their opening prayer. Good morning, Council and Executive. We're going on to our minutes, September 7th. Go ahead, Dallas. Or not Dallas, Curtis. Sorry about that.
Motion number 10. Have we, is there any update on that?
Councilor.
Motion to approve September 7th minutes.
So moved by Councilor Dewan to approve the Tuesday, September 7th minutes. Second by Atea TP. Question by Councilor Haska.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos,
Yes.
Dion Crawford,
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary,
Yes.
Chairman, motion passes.
Thank you, Councilman Executive. Moving on to our Wednesday, September 8th minutes. Members of council or executives, can you help me with motion number 35? What's that property over there, the old Bull Rama property? I thought Dryden was going to utilize our own food over here to use that as a deer processing. If I remember right. Okay. So just make that clear then. So if you get asked by your membership in motion number 35, that's where the deer processing will be at over here, the program over here in agency.
So they're not going to use that?
Not the Bolorama. Because I thought when Charlene came in with her report for her update, that's what she's used her equipment for. And that's what this building was built for, to do that processing.
Should we change the motion?
Go ahead, Gypsy.
Okay, well, I don't know, you want to finish talking about that one first?
Oh, number
'Cause
35.
I had a different question for the later on. Motion 35, what did you want to do?
Can we just do a note on that, Lindsay? With Charlene's going to be using our food pantry as the deer processing this year, not the Bolorama building. Hi, Ipa, floor is yours.
Okay, so then, so what's the Bolorama going to be used for? We have,
That's still in the planning phase right now. Last time I heard was from planning, I thought they were going to build a hunting resort out there?
oh, really? Okay. Okay, so then, I had a question on motion number 39. Did the Realty Office develop that policy for the sale of tribally owned houses on fee lands?
We won't need to.
Well, I guess, so is
yeah.
there an update on that then?
Yeah. Realty is coming in tomorrow, because I know we're waiting on that for that tribal member that wanted to purchase that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Motion to approve September 8th minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Kakiza Haska moved to approve the September 8th minutes. Second by Madam Secretary.
I should note with changes
Yes,
on
thank you.
that motion. Okay. Get that, Lindsay?
If there's no question, I'm going to call for vote.
I have a question?
Oh, question, going over to Haipa.
Question?
Oh, she's questioning.
Oh, wait, no, never mind, I'm sorry.
It's
It's
early,
the
I
next
know.
question.
Let me finish my coffee.
So the floor is yours then?
No, I'm
Is that kind of, oh, okay. You're getting me confused.
sorry. I did have a question, but it's not related to this motion, I'm sorry.
Yeah, call for vote, Lindsay.
Curtis Bissonnette?
Yes.
Brandon Gibson Warner?
Yes.
Boyd Church Jr.?
Yes.
Dallas Owen?
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos?
Yes.
Dion Crawford?
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to Wednesday, September 8th minutes at 2:40 PM. Oh, Dallas, floor is yours.
So this is more of an administrative question for you, Mr. Chairman, but was it handled? Because to my understanding, an employee from under your programs prevented a motion from being carried into effect and cost us some money. I was just wondering.
There was a
if you
motion
handled
already
that
previously
situation.
made, and it was, yeah, it was taken care of.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, we went back to the minutes and found it. Any other questions regarding Wednesday, September 8th at 2:40 PM? Motion to approve by
Second.
Kakiza Haska, second by Tokunawa. Is there a question? Question by Yagapta.
Curtis Bissonnette?
Yes.
Brandon Gibson Warner?
Yes.
Boyd Church Jr.? Dallas Owen?
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos?
Yes.
Dion Crawford?
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes.
Thank you, council and executives. Now we're moving on to Tuesday, October 5th minutes.
Motion to approve?
Oh, excuse me. Gypsy's rubbing off on me. Yeah, I was looking at that minutes. Wednesday, September 29th minutes. There was a motion to move by Bade Hadakia. Is there a second to, for the approval of September 29th minutes? Dion's way ahead of us.
Well, I thought we were doing.
No, it's a little early to me. I was looking at our agenda. So I asked for October 5th minutes, and I'm glad that you approved the agenda anyway. So there is no motion on the floor. Madam Secretary, floor is yours.
On motion 76, authorizing Dakota Western to open a credit card account, I don't recall that I was included on that signature card, or whatever it is. It was just the chairman and vice chair, as I recall. Okay. So that will need to be corrected. Motion number 76, just to delete my name from the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Lindsay, motion number 76, that noted? Okay, thank you. Kakiza Haska, floor is yours.
Motion 90 doesn't really really specify gaming or non-gaming employees. Can we get clarification on that? I think that was the whole mix-up before. It was never specified. So can we get clarification and then fix that motion?
Junior?
Yeah, we can change it, add it to non-gaming in South Dakota.
Non-gaming in South Dakota to be amended on motion number 90. Lindsay, is it amended? Thank you, ma'am.
Can I get clarification on that, Chairman? What is that motion supposed to read?
It's exactly what it says, but we need to put on the non-gaming in South Dakota. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, add non-gaming in South Dakota to
Yes.
include non-gaming in South Dakota.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Motion moved by Bade Hadakia to approve motion, or September 29th minutes. Second
Question.
by Iagapta, question by Ataya TP. Question going over to Tokunawa. Floor is yours, Dallas.
Motion 104.
Distracted, thank you.
Anything else, Dallas? All right, I'm going to call for vote.
Leon Crawford.
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette. Yes. Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.
Yes.
Dallas Owen.
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos. Yes. Tribal Vice Chairwoman.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, members of council and execs. Just to give everybody a heads up, I'm going to have Mr. Eddie Johnson come in too during my report, and told him to be here at 9:37, and he just walked in at 9:37. Eddie wanted to give an update regarding these Air Force homes. So just in time, Eddie, I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Good morning, council and execs. Thank you for letting me come before you today. I know I met with some of you on Friday We ran into a little shortage on the Air Force Homes demo. It was bid out and it came up to 153, and our budget for next year was 158 or something like that. But I know I talked to some of council, and I was hoping that Brownsfield would be able to get some program support. What would it do? It'd be able to keep our Brownsfield coordinator to keep going after Brownsfield project money for fiscal year 23, and the bills that he prorated to pay through OEP. And then I also got I need motions to pay the IECIS group, which is doing the demo of the Air Force homes. And as the chairman said, a little update. As of right now, they're supposed to be starting yesterday, starting the removal of the demo of the Air Force homes.
Any questions coming from leadership? Kakiza Haska, floor is yours.
Some of council visited with Eddie on this last week, and I know the biggest deal was the shortage of money, and I'd like to see that eyesore gone. It should have been gone a long time ago, and we talked about this and stuff. So I told him I will support it moving forward. And so if he has an amount, I'm ready to make that motion.
Before I hand in the budget, if it gets approved, I'll go with the vice chairman and show her, but with just to keep the coordinator would be about 80,000 with the expenses of the OEP building that he has to help pay for. Salary is about 55 alone with fringe benefits. It's not all wages, it's like insurance and all that stuff.
Yagapta,
Motion to approve program support for OEP.
total amount of, Eddie?
80,000.
So moved by Yagapta, second by Kakiza Haska. Before our question by Bade Hata, huh? Yes, for the year of 2022, right? Motion maker?
Yep.
Yes. Bade Hata, question, and before I call for a vote, any questions or comments before I move on? Yeah, yep. Madam Secretary, floor is yours.
I'm sorry, I must have missed it, but what was that position going to be called?
Oh, it's just the one that we have already. Jason Eastman's in there right now as the Brownsfield coordinator.
Okay, and then you also need a motion to pay the contractor?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up after this one.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Going over to Haipa, floor is yours.
Hi, can you just read back the motion for me, please?
It was actually kind of hard to hear. She didn't.
Okay, I'll get with Lindsay, but the motion would be that council would approve 80,000 in program support for the Brownsfield coordinator for fiscal year 22.
Thank you.
Dallas.
So was that previously covered by a grant or then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd just be for this year only. That's it.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else coming from council or execs? Before I call for motion, I just want to make sure everything's clarified. If not, I'm going to call for a vote.
A. Lydia Amos,
Yes.
Dion Crawford,
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette, Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
I'm going to vote no because I have not been talked to.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes.
Thank you, council and executives. Mr. Johnson, floor is yours.
Thank you, executives and council. I don't know how council and execs want to, it's just invoices from the company that's doing the removal of the Air Force homes. I have a $15,330 for mobilization when they first started. And I don't know if you guys just want to do a motion to where the chairman can sign off on anything that's in the agreement with the contract, or if you just want me to keep coming back. It's just that, you know, mobilization, of course, was already there and they're looking for payment. And then there's another one for the first task of confirming the sampling and documents cheapest feasibility remediation options, development of a quality assurance project plan, QAP, which is for required for our grant and project officers to do so that they can look at it. And it just, and that one's 28,470. But them are the two right now, and we will be getting more later on. And this would be coming out of the Brownfield funds.
Brownsville funds, okay. Kaki Zahaska.
So I think when we approve this, I think your payment should just be start rolling over, and then the chairman's signature should be on that.
Right.
So, do we need to make a motion for that then?
So I can start making payments, yeah. Just so that, just make sure that the payments are within the scope of the contract.
Yep. Okay, I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. Because that should be already happening, because we already did sign that contract.
Yep.
We approved to sign that contract, so.
Yeah, the contract was approved, just the payments weren't.
Yep.
Motion moved by Kaki Zahaska. Ooh. I'm gonna go to the elder, second by Biagapta. Question by Bade Hadakia. But before I call for vote too, any questions coming from council or execs? Curtis.
Motion to approve the payments, Lindsay, the chairman's signature to not exceed the amount that was approved.
Before I call for vote too, Mr. Johnson, can you come in to give an update with my report next month?
Yep.
Because I know leadership has been getting questioned about the Air Force homes too.
Yeah,
And I've been getting questions too, so just so everybody knows out there.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up after the vote here, but just to let everybody know, Jason Eastman, our Brownfield coordinator, he is taking pictures of, he took pictures of before and he's taking them during, and then it'll be after. So there will be a little presentation too with it.
If there's no further questions or comments coming from council or the execs, I'm gonna call for vote.
Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos.
Yes.
Dion Crawford.
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, Council and Executives. Anything else, Mr. Johnson?
That's it. Thank you, council, execs.
Thanks for coming in and giving an update to everybody. I appreciate it. Members of council and execs, I was going to have Mr. Tallbear come in to give you an update on the meeting that he had last night, but he must have ran late, so he's running late. So I could have him do a roundtable. If not, I could have some room later in these agendas, either today or tomorrow, if you guys want to update from him. Members of council, moving on to continue my report. It's going to be short and sweet. I have nothing coming from my programs that need council action. So, you have our executive committee minutes for Thursday, September 2nd, and also Thursday, September 16th. And also Tuesday, September 23rd, that I also wanted to make sure that you guys are aware of these minutes as they get approved in my report. Dallas, then Dion.
So did you want these approved after your report or before you go into it?
I could do it before.
So I read through the executive committee minutes, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve executive committee minutes on Thursday, September 2nd.
So moved by Dallas to approve Thursday, September 2nd, executive committee minutes. Dion, did you have a question regarding those minutes? Is there a second? Second by Dion. Question by Iagapta.
Dallas Owen.
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos.
Yes.
Dion Crawford.
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, council and execs. Going on to Thursday, September 16th minutes. Members of council, on motion number 2 and execs too, I just want to note too with the, there is a plan that, that he's going to be moving into the IT building. So he's just waiting on that so he can be moving into the planning department. Yeah, questions, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did we approve the August minutes? The August Executive Committee minutes? Are we going to be getting those? I know we got them in our email, but.
It should be just approved with the report. We shouldn't have to do it individually.
Well, there was things in there I had questions on. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
For the August what?
I think if we're going to approve them, we need to be consistent too. So it should be month to month.
Yeah.
Yeah, month to month, because we don't have to approve each day.
No, I agree with you.
Madam Vice Chair. Then Haipa.
I would think that we would approve them day by day because they're different than just a program update. They're actually action taken as an executive committee that should be recognized and on the record.
Dion, did you, before I moved on? All right, Haipa.
I just wanted to get clarification on motion number 2, who the COVID coordinator is. Is that Sunny's position?
That's Sunny. Yeah, it's Sunny.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So will we be getting the August minutes to approve?
Christine, can you get the August minutes? Yeah. Any further questions going on Thursday, September 16th minutes?
I had one correction, Chairman.
Madam Secretary?
On motion number 3, it was to move the youth lodge under behavioral health, not the youth department. Thank you.
No questions or comments for Thursday, September 16th minutes, executive minutes. Motion to approve?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
So moved by Tokunawa,
Second.
second by Iagata.
Question?
Question by Atea, TVP.
Dallas Owens,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos, Dion Crawford,
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette, Brandon Gypsy-Wana,
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, Council and Executives. Moving on to Thursday, September 23rd minutes of our executive meeting. Any questions or comments coming from council or execs for Thursday, September 23rd? If not, is there a motion to approve? Madam Secretary.
I'd just like to make a comment on motion number 3, to not support the IHS's request to reduce clinic hours. Along with our motion, we would like a tribal council motion. Thank you.
So moved by Madam Vice Chair. And that's going to be for council motion. And like Madam Secretary said, we made a motion to not support IHS request to reduce clinic hours.
Second.
Second by Haipa. Is there a question? There's no question. I'm going to call for vote, Lindsay.
I have a question. Is it to support, is this motion to support that motion or to approve the minutes? To approve the minutes. Okay.
No, it was to support that motion.
To support that motion,
Madam Secretary wanted a motion. Yes.
Okay, I guess it's making a motion to not support the IHS request to reduce clinic hours.
Madam Secretary forgot already.
early. We're all still asleep.
Question by Dion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So have we heard from Mr. Jordan? Because I thought he was coming in. He's not on the report? He's not on the agenda? I guess I would like more information on that. I mean, I think if we're going to be, supporting or not supporting, I guess really that's IHS's decision. But it would be nice to hear from him. And, normally he's on the agenda. I'm not sure why he's not, but is he? Okay, so why wouldn't we just wait and make that motion after we hear from him? Doesn't make sense to me.
it's gonna be up to the motion maker.
Okay, thank you.
So the reason why I don't think we need to leave it up to him whether we're going to reduce our hours or keep them. It took us a long time to even get these length of hours for our clinic. And we don't need to lose them because it's going to be hard to get back once we reduce them. And our people should not have to suffer at the hands of the administrative issues over there. Just because they're struggling with administrative issues does not mean that we should be reducing our hours. They need to fix it. And BIE needs to be held accountable to fix it. So that's why I'm making that motion, because I'm not in favor of reducing our clinic hours. It took us too long to get it. And once we do, it's going to be hard to get it back.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, okay, he proposed closing at 5 o'clock Monday through Friday, and Saturday, that would be an 8-hour day. Sunday, they would be closed. And I consulted with tribal health coordinator, and the tribe did fight hard to get those longer hours. And the IHS got additional funding so they could have longer hours to treat people. And I did talk to Mr. Jordan, and I told him that we made a motion, to not support that request because he wanted to meet with us. And he wants a copy of the motion, but he said they're because they don't have enough support staff. So no matter what motion we make, IHS will probably do what they're going to do anyway, against our wishes. Thank you.
And
Dion, then I'm going to go to Haipa after.
Sorry.
Dion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Because when he was here the last time, I think he kind of said he was going to request that in an effort to get more providers. And the healthcare provider shortage is really dramatic in the country. I mean, it's everywhere. So thank you. Appreciate it. So I guess I would just, we'll vote on it, but I think, it's not that we want a reduction in hours or support that at all. Because I think that once, if they're closing, then what ends up happening is that people have to go to either Coteau and they're not treated well either when they go there. So, it's an issue, but I just think it's if there's a reason and they're going to do it anyway. And you said the tribal health director, is that Sarah or Leah? Sarah, what was she recommending? That we don't support it? Okay, thank you.
Haipa.
When there's major changes like that at the IHS, it's always put about that there's tribal input, get tribal council input, and this is our input, and I think that's just a valid point to make. And Lisa I already seconded, right? Okay, thank you. That was all.
Thank you, Haipa. Anything else? We got Ms. Rendell back there. Can you turn on your mic, please, because we have a listening audience? I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, my apologies, I missed the motion, but I understand that there's about IHS. Could somebody please clarify it for me, because I'd like to make a comment.
The motion is not to support IHS request to reduce clinic hours.
Very good. So we don't want them to reduce, okay. Comment I want to make to all of you. Curtis, Floyd, Myrna, there was a concern presented to council, the executives, on some of the issues that were going on at IHS for the past couple years. A lot of those things were put in writing. So I do know it is available, and I don't know what if there was ever discussion that council people chose to take on. But the reason I'm saying this, if there's an issue that seems to be going on over at our facility, council people, please address those issues. It doesn't matter how many doctors we get. They may probably end up leaving again. We can make... So there is apparently something going on. You have those, and we even have a motion on that our leadership, for some reason, area office does not respect. Other tribes make motions, area office jumps on it. What's wrong with our tribe? What's wrong with our leadership? What's wrong with our council? What happened to its strength, and what happened to, we're here for the people. We're here for you. Then please take action to actually be here for the people. The issue is always going to be concerns, and the doctors, we had wonderful doctors over the past few years. And I think all of you are aware of the doctors that we've had. They've gone, they've left. A lot of those written concerns are in those packets. Again, I mentioned the names of those of you who got them. Those that were in council and execs 2 years ago, you have all of that. So I will say, take issue with the problems that are going on there. And again, remember, you voted in, and we like to say, we're here for the people. We're here for our elders. We're here for our youth. Then take action and actually be there for them. And look, take some action to address what issues are going on over there. And again, there was a resolution made. Use your power, use your authority. You are leaders. You're leaders of our nation. If our nation doesn't have any teeth, then what purpose do we have here as leadership for standing up for issues outside of our little world we have here? Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. Is there Kakiza Haska? Floor is yours.
I just want to say to that we did hand in everything that we received. I gave mine to the secretary. I emailed whatever I had to her, and it was handed in. I actually hand delivered it too, in a folder. So I just want to make that comment to you that I did.
Did you follow up on it? Did you take action to see why nothing was done?
Yes, we did.
Then did you follow up again and again and again, or did you do it once, walk away and say, oh, well, I didn't have...
We followed up a few times. We had a couple meetings. We went up there. So yes.
Lindsay, is there a question? I forgot where I was on that motion. Is there a question for that motion? If there's no question to the motion, I'm going to call for a vote.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette, Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos, Dion Crawford,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, Council and Executives. Going back to our Executive Committee minutes to Thursday, September 23rd. Anything else? Any questions coming from Council or execs? If not, is there a motion to approve the September 23rd Executive minutes?
So move.
So moved by Atea TP, second by Kakiza Haska. Is there a question?
Question.
Question by Tokunua.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos.
Yes.
Dion Crawford.
Yes.
Curtis Bissonette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, council and executives. Moving on to our Thursday, August 12th minutes. Dion, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, motion 3. Why was this done executively? Because this should have been done either at advisory or probably gaming advisory. And then also I noticed in Mr. Gunn's billing that he billed in a lot of hours on the charging, negotiating a contract for a charging station at Buoys. And I know it was, portions of that were in the lease with him, but then why would the tribe be paying to put a Tesla charging station at a store that is no longer in one of our businesses? So those were my 2 questions. And I'm bringing up that other thing about the Dakota Crossings, because it goes with this one. Thank you.
Kakiza Haska.
Me, are we supposed to be getting a payment? Was the payment schedule set for?
But I don't know the exact date, though. I know I had a few questions on that from our concerned membership out there too. Okay. Did you hear, Curtis? We gotta double check on the contract to see the exact, the day of that month for that payment.
Okay, can we get an update by tomorrow?
I could double check with legal right away.
Okay, thank you.
Token Noah, floor is yours.
So, just speaking with the Tesla thing, to my understanding, when I was talking with Todd, is Tesla was willing to do that for free at the time. So I don't know why all of a sudden we'd be paying to have Tesla install these all of a sudden. So unless I missed something. Can you use the mic, Madam Vice Chair?
So you're correct, and we discussed that before, that Tesla was willing to come in and do that for free. So I'm not sure aware of why that changed.
And then I just wanted to say too that I also think this should have came before the advisory board if it's going to be regarding our 3 casinos. And thank you.
Curtis, floor is yours.
So, Dallas, you're correct on that, because when we were sitting here at the table here, Tesla did come to Dakota Crossings asking if they could hook up, and that was, I believe it was on the east side of our parking lot is where they were going to do that. So I guess my question is, why are we paying legal to look into something that they've asked us for free, I guess, is my question. I think we need to see that detailed billing of how much we paid him to negotiate that. And if I need to make a motion, then I want to make a motion to that effect, authorizing a payment request information as to how much we paid Mr. Gunn. So that's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Motion moved by Kakiza Haska, second by Dion. Question by, there is a question by Hayaba.
Is there a contract with Tesla? No. So this motion, I read it, is to inquire with Tesla. So this is just a questioning thing to see if they would be interested. I do recall at some point with our Dakota, with the Gaming Advisory Board at some time a few months ago, at some point, there was some discussion about being able to get some charging stations at our casinos, because why not? That would be a great idea, especially since it was going to be done at the grocery store. And I missed due to a medical appointment, I missed the last advisory board meeting. But prior to that, I don't know that we had ever discussed it again, at least officially in a round table or whatever. But I do remember that was one of the things we had talked about getting charging stations at the casinos, only because of, I mean, that's just the way it's going and stuff like that. We were in, my sister even has a hybrid, kind of cool. Anyways, so there's number one, there's no contract, and number two, this is just an inquiry thingy to see if that would work that way. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Hype. Going over to Madam Vice Chair.
So I know we did mention it in our advisory board meeting, and the discussion came up that there was going to be a cost to it, to install that at the casinos. But yet we had, like Enemy Swim said, Todd looked into it and they're willing to come in for free. So we said, take a look at it and see if we can get that service done for free at our casinos. So that was discussed. And then when we had Mr. Gunn as a guest in our executive committee meeting, we talked about a few different things. He updated us, but he did ask for action or direction to begin to look into this, because he didn't want to just do it without anything saying he's authorized to do so. And so that's the reason why he requested that we make that motion, just so that he has something to show that he's following up on that, because like we had discussed previously, it was free in one place, so let's see if we can get it free at the other sites. And it was just an inquiry. Now, if he followed up and found out there's going to be a cost to that, then now we decide what we're going to do. Do we want to pursue and pay that cost, or do we just want to drop it? And so that's to my understanding of this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Going over to Bade Hadakia, then Tokunawa.
I think, I had requested in an email that Mr. Gunn come to us to get these. And this was in August. There was ample time for this to come to the table, especially if we're paying him. It's not free, because we're paying Steve Gunn to negotiate this lease. And yes, it came up at advisory. And I think at that time we gave it to gaming to look into. I just, with the motion, what I was going to say is, can you put a time on that so that we can get those? Because if we don't put a time on it, we'll be getting them for Christmas. Thank you.
I'm going to take a couple more from Dallas and Haipa. With your time, when we go back to your motion, I'm going to call for a question. But yeah, because legal's under me, then I'll have to look into it and give you the answers to that.
So I understand that, Gunn wanted some guidance, but this was done August 12th, and we definitely had several sessions of council of minutes that we just approved, but I don't remember this coming up during regular session of council. And as I understand it, this is the first time we're seeing executive committee minutes from August. So I just am curious as to why we weren't alerted sooner by the executive committee regarding this. Any one of you, feel free to answer.
I'm going to say I'm going to take that as my fault. I probably just missed it with the August minutes, so I'm going to take the responsibility for that.
I appreciate it, Mr.
I
Chairman.
probably just forgot about asking our executive assistant to get our minutes. Sometimes I get busy and sometimes I'm going to take credit for that one.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Haipa, if I remember, if I'm going into the order your guys' hands was raised. Floor is yours.
Okay. No, I think you clarified for me, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Haipa. Anything else coming from council before I call for a question to the vote? Kakiza Haska.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to amend my motion to add a week on her. I think that would give you ample time, sufficient time to look into that and get us maybe an email or an answer back.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you clarify your motion so everybody knows?
Motion to get Lindsay, can you read it back?
We had a long discussion, so.
So my motion was to get the information that how much we paid Mr. Gunn to look into the Tesla contract. And I want to, what's today? Today's the 5th. So to get us an answer by October 12th. Is that sufficient enough, Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Okay.
that's my task, Lindsay, to get the answers by the 12th. No further discussions on that issue. I call for a question, and if there's no question on the floor, I'm going to call for a vote.
Question?
Question by Gina Kirk.
Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana,
No.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos, Dion Crawford, Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
Thank you, Council and Execs. Dion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So would we be able to, well, I think that would be on our end. I don't think it's a contracting thing. So I make a motion to have all payments to Steve Gunn, no matter the amount, come through this body and be approved by council before the check is sent to him. That's my motion. Thank you.
Haipa.
I would just like to state that I think this is some type of, I don't know what the word is, but why are we pinpointing and looking at every single detail that Stephen Gunn does as our attorney? We have several level attorneys, you guys, and people speak with our other attorney. Are we being charged for all those other conversations that everyone has with our other attorney, Greg Paulson or Mark Van Norman? You know, why aren't we scrutinizing each of those as well then? This seems to be just like a useless waste of time to be doing this for every time bringing up stuff against Stephen Gunn. And just because some of us don't like Stephen Gunn as our attorney, doesn't mean that we need to scrutinize all of the work that he does for us, because he does still work for us. He has a contract with us, and he would not do us wrong by the things that we're having him do. And if that were the case, then I would say, you know, if we're going to do that, we scrutinize all of them, and if we don't trust one of them, we don't trust all of them, and we can just scratch it all and get all new, put an RFP out for all new attorneys, because this seems to be a waste of time and nonsense and just more things to stir up more trouble and delay more time. Thank you.
Thank you, Haipa. Going in the order of your hands that was raised, I see you shining back there too. So just wanted to let you know. Kakiza Haska.
So to answer your question, he does answer to council because we hired him. So we should be getting all of that information, but we're not. So that's why.
And I don't have any information from any of the others either, so I'd like to be scrutinizing with all the others. Because I mean, we're not getting, what other stuff are you guys looking for? What are we looking for? What are you looking for? You want details from this Mr. Gunn. Well, what's the details that Mr. Paulson needs to give? I haven't gotten anything from Mr. Paulson. I haven't gotten anything from Mark Van Norman. So what exactly are we looking for? What kind of reports are we looking for? I mean, are you looking for?
I just want to say that Mark Van Norman and Paulson turns in their reports. They've been doing it for years. And when Mark Van Norman wants to meet with leadership, I include him in your guys' group text. That even tomorrow, he's going to be here tomorrow. So, Shannon, sorry about that.
So I just want the committee is within their author. They have contracts with and not include council. Overstep to say that because the executives have the power and the authority to do these kinds of things.
Anything else, Junior Kirk?
I don't think anybody's questioning their authority and what they can and can't do. There's just a question on the billing. You can request Greg Paulson's, you can request Mark Van Norman's at the same time. I mean, they're just making a request to see Steve Gunn's, but I'm not questioning their authority when we're not in session. So.
Tokenwa, then Dion, then I'm just going to move on to because I'm taking the vice chairman's report because we still got to include the other executive committee reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in short, Gypsy, do you ever request anything from Greg Paulson or Mark Van Norman?
No, because you guys said they give them to us.
So
But,
if you
where are
never
they then?
requested
Where are they?
anything, then how can you scrutinize them if you
You said
haven't
they
received
give them
any-
to us. You guys
Excuse
didn't
me,
ask them for
I have
it,
the
you give
floor,
them.
Gypsy. So you said you want to scrutinize all of them, but if you're not asking, you can't receive.
I don't want to scrutinize. I don't need to scrutinize because I trust what they're doing already.
I'm just addressing what you said. Thank you.
We're not gonna go back and forth like this. I'm gonna move on to Dion. Do you have anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The reason I'm asking is because in the contract with Mr. Gunn, it states that he's supposed to be providing reports. At the district level, we've had people come here, employees. The secretary and the chairman have tried to contact him. He does not respond. The billing, his billing for last month, or that we got last month, stated that he was meeting with the executive committee, yet you both stated that you didn't have any meetings with him. He thinks we're an IRA tribe. He brought a document to this body stating that the System Optin Oyate organized under the Indian Reorganization Act. That is not only disrespectful, it's a slap in the face to the sacrifices that have been made by those who have fought for that, to keep that treaty status. He came here, we asked him for the monthly reports, we didn't get anything. Mr. Paulson has been with us for over 25 years. He provides the detailed billing. He answers the phone when we call him. He knows that we are a treaty tribe. He knows us. And there is nothing wrong when somebody is billing us, this tribe, for doing a service for a business, a business that isn't ours. There's nothing wrong with us asking why. That is that's the responsible thing to do. If our attorney was negotiating a contract for Rosalie's, on behalf of Rosalie's, would we agree with that? I wouldn't. And that's essentially what's happening here. So I am going to ask. It's not scrutinizing. And all I'm asking for is what's in his contract. He signed that contract with this tribe. I wasn't here when he came on board, but he's the one that agreed to that and has failed to do those things. That's why I'm asking. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Madam Vice Chair.
So I agree that we need to have a monthly report from our attorneys. And if we're going to do this, then the motion should be for all of them and that they be presented, because officially we do not see detailed reports of our attorneys. We don't see them. And we need to just be consistent. And we keep saying that crossing's not our business. It is our business. We leased it out. We should be getting something back. Chairman's going to follow up on that agreement. But we need to quit giving the misconception that that is not our business, because it is. And when we speak like that, we're not being truthful to our membership. It is our business. Now, whether we like the agreement, disagree with the agreement, that's our personal preference and right to have those opinions, but it is our business. We leased it. We put a time limit on when we're going to release it. And when that's done, that will be back under our full control. We have not given that store away, but we badmouthed it and went around talking about how this is not our business, so now we don't want to support it. And it is our business. So we sit here and go over petty stuff. We've got healthcare issues to go over. We're stuck on one motion within the executive committee minutes. And it's just frustrating and it's tiresome. And I'm going to tell you, I dread coming to our council meetings because of this. If we're going to do this, let's be consistent. When we don't like one person, we will nitpick the hell out of what they do. And it's on the record. And it's not good business. It's not a professional way to handle our business, especially as a government. So if we're going to do this, let's do it straight across the board. Previous council, every Thursday was designated to our legal. We sat down and had round table and talked with legal. They gave us current updates on what they're doing. We can do that. Then we can improve communication. Then we don't have all this back and forth questions when it comes time to go into session. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I ask for a motion to approve the executive committee minutes for Thursday, August 12th. So moved by Kakiza Haska. Sorry about that. There's just a lot of discussion, so sometimes I forget too. So there's a motion on the floor.
Motion to approve. Withdraw my motion to approve the minutes.
Kakiza Haska made the motion.
Oh, second.
But noted that she withdrew her motion. A second. Lake Driver second. Is there a question? Question by all agency.
Curtis Bissonette,
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana,
Is this to approve the minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Dallas Owen, A. Lydia Amos, Dion Crawford, Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes.
Thank you, Council and Execs. Moving on to executive committee minutes for Thursday, August 19th. So moved by Tokanawa. Second by Dion. Question by Curtis.
Amos. Dion Crawford. Curtis Bissonette. Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.,
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman,
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passes.
Thank you, Council and Execs. Before I move on, I'm going to call on Madam Secretary for clarification.
I just wanted to clarify that there is a process for all our legal contractors, I guess you could say, to submit detailed billing reports or requests that was created by Greg Paulson And I recently gave that process to our in-house legal because it is a process that is being followed by Greg at least. So we do need the detailed billings. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Our Curtis, then Gypsy.
So, thank you for that clarification, Madam Secretary. So can you maybe get with our in-house legal, maybe the chairman, and just make sure everybody that we have on our legal staff are following that same process so everything's consistent. Thank you.
Gypsy?
So just want to have a clarification, I guess. So when we have the legal department, the attorneys, our outside attorneys fall under legal department, and then legal department's under the vice chairperson or the tribal chairman? Okay, so a lot of our questions and concerns can be directed to him, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in council. If we had some concerns, we can go anytime.
As long as there's no action.
Right. If you get some answers or whatever, questions asked. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council and execs. I don't want to take more of time of Madam Vice Chair's report, but I just want to give heads up too. I gave the heads up with executive body that because of the numbers, Sunny's going to be giving the numbers, the accurate numbers that COVID, people are testing positive for COVID in the Rotunda and elsewhere. So I would like to get with the execs and call a meeting for a roundtable with the schools and also gaming for a roundtable to make that decision for a 10-day stay-at-home order. I believe that if I make that decision, everybody should be the same across the board. So just giving you a heads up. Dallas?
Mr. Chairman, could you set up a roundtable to discuss whether or not to have the veterans powwow if we are starting to have outbreak here? I feel like a concentrated powwow indoors could be devastating to our membership if the spread is great, so I just wanted to discuss that.
Christine, when we set up this roundtable, can you include the veterans? All right, and I'd like to do
Thank
that
you, Mr.
roundtable
Chairman.
right away, probably next week, early. The handout, nothing more from the programs that are in the administration of under the tribal chairman. So I just want to let you guys know that we need to have that meeting. So that concludes my report.
Motion to approve.
So moved by Olaisi, second by Dion.
Question.
Question by Iagapta.
Yes.
Dallas Owen,
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos. Yes. Dion Crawford. Yes. Curtis Bissonette.
Yes.
Brandon Gypsy Wana.
Yes.
Tribal Vice Chairwoman.
Yes.
Tribal Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, motion passed.
At this time, before I go into the Madam Vice Chair's report, since we kind of took a little bit of time, can we take a break for those that smoke and those that need to use the bathroom, please? Then we'll go back and come back with the Vice Chair's report. Gypsy, did you have anything?
Well, I had a question for you.
Oh,
I had a question. I had put in a request to get a copy of the contract or the MOU with the Roberts County jail, whatever that jail is there in town. I wanted a copy of that MOU or contract, and I haven't gotten it yet.
oh, I'm sorry, Gypsy.
Okay.
I'll double check with legal. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So good.
the college, they could come up to the mics, please. And for the rest of the college, can you guys come up to the mic, please? Make sure you all use the hand sanitizers if you are using the mics. And when you use the mics, make sure you turn and press the right button. Your mic will light up to a green like this. So, Dr. Azure, whenever you're ready, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And that's a nice medallion.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Council. Wopitatonka. My name is Lane Azure. I'm here on behalf of Sisseton-Wahpeton College, and it looks like I kind of jumped in front of the vice chair. That's okay. I'll try to be as quick as possible. So the first thing that I want to bring up is we did bring 4 of our students from Sisseton-Wahpeton College, and they range from the behavioral science to multimedia technology. We have LeJune Morgan, Harvey Crawford, Akeisha Peters, he might have stepped out for a moment, and Jordan LeBlanc. So hopefully we'll get enough time that each one of these students will be able to say a little something on behalf of the students of the college. First thing I wanted to bring up was the mission statement. This is what we do as a college. I'm not going to read through it. We provide education for the community. That's our most important role, is to provide that education, whether or not it's academic, career, or technical education is the other one. So, and that has to do with carpentry, building trades, nursing, culinary arts, and then the 2-year degree programs that we have, language revitalization, as well as now we have 2 4-year degree programs that we worked on getting accepted by the Higher Learning Commission. We did that. And so our goal, our vision of the college is to become the best college in the nation. And that's not a lofty goal. You know, there's 37 tribal colleges and universities in this nation, and Sisseton-Wahpeton College is one of those, and we are at the top. So that's our goal. And we are excited to be here today. We're excited that you gave us the time to talk, and we hope that it's a successful endeavor. The other thing is the vision of our colleges is that not only do we provide education for the Sisseton-Wahpeton Oyate and the community, those on and off the reservation, but we also provide long-lasting relationships that continue to go forward into the future. The college has been around for 40 plus years, and we intend for it to be around for another 40 and beyond that point. And in order to do that, we have to maintain the college. And that's our request. So the main purpose for today is to talk about how we play our role in workforce development. Right now, excluding casino operations, the Sisseton-Wahpeton Oyate employ about 57% of the employees have to do with behavioral science of some sort. So that's amazing. And that is what we have been focusing on for the last 3 years, behavioral science, and now we have a 4-year degree program in that. Housing shortages, Eric Shepard from Sisseton-Wahpeton Housing Authority says that we need about 1,200 houses. We've been putting out 1 a year. We didn't last year because of the COVID. Right now, we're looking at 1 a year, and the Sisseton-Wahpeton Housing Authority sponsors that by providing the house, the materials, and then move it off, and then they put it on one of the districts on the reservation. Language revitalization. We just secured a grant for approximately $3 million that's going to support that program over the next 5 years. We continue to place emphasis in that area of language and culture, and we will always be that. That's who we are. For-profit membership business ownership is another thing that we're looking at. How many of our tribal members own a house moving business? We pay exorbitant funds to have other people move houses for us, and we need 1,200 of those. So how much is that going to go out to outside sources? We want that to be here. That's just one example. So along with the workforce development, I talked about that. We just secured a grant that has never been owned by Sisseton-Wahpeton College for $2.5 million over the next 5 years. That'll support career and technical education, and all those programs that you see right there are what we plan on providing the community with and our students, so that when they're done, they can come out ready to hit the ground running in these areas. The housing shortages, as I talked before, we're planning on putting a building up that would be a 4-classroom building that would secure 4 houses, 4 seasons that we can build rather than 1. So that will also increase for our plumbing, our electrical, framing, all sorts of carpentry, but 4 houses coming out of there each year is going to better equip us for that 1,200 house shortage. That's a plan. $2.5 million that building looks like it's going to cost us. It's going to be 320 by 80 feet, and that's one of our endeavors. And then again, with the Sisseton-Wahpeton Housing Authority, now their support in this area increases quite a bit, because now we're not just putting one house up for $120,000. We're putting up 4 houses, and so their amount of contribution would be $750,000, or over $3.75 million over the course of 5 years. The T Center, which I just spoke about earlier in terms of Dakota Iapi, and that we are supporting that program in our best efforts so that we don't have to reach out to the tribe, but now we have an in-house program through the National Science Foundation worth $3 million that's going to support that program. And then we're also looking at trying to develop a 4-year degree teaching certificate in Dakota language. So this T Center is based on linguistics. And so what we're planning on doing is providing our methodology of instruction out beyond these reservations boundaries, so that other people can look at us and say, hey, we need to do it like Sisseton-Wahpeton does. The for-profit, I touched on this right here. Students come out, they know how to do carpentry, but they don't know business. They don't know how to run that business. So what we'll do is provide them with opportunities to take business management classes, accounting, payroll accounting, whatever it takes in order for them to be successful. We provide that at the college. That's our job. That's what we want to do. Again, bachelor degree programs. There's 15 colleges out of the 37 that I mentioned that have 4-year degree programs. Sisseton-Wahpeton College is one of those colleges. Huh?
I want to say
That's
congratulations on that bachelor's degree program for the Sisseton-Wahpeton College with your staff, your students, your board. So congratulations, Dr. Iger.
Thank you. And then we're also in the hopper is elementary education with the Dakota language speaking emphasis. There's other tracks. I'm not going to talk about those, but then we have early childhood education. Those things take a little bit more in order for us to jump through the hoops to get those, but they are in the hopper, and we fully intend to follow through with that. And hopefully, with the grace of a creator, we'll be able to get those programs up and running too by fall of 2022. So this is our project. We have three phases of them. The first phase is, as you probably know, aware of, is the student center that we're looking at. And again, those little letters on the side, on the right-hand side there, are a little bit hard to read, but they have to do with outreach, student support, food services, and then not only that, when you drive by the college, I mean, we have the drum building, which is very iconic and very attractive. This center right here is going to be that, add to that, and it's going to be a sense of pride that you can look at this. This is your college. This is your college. This isn't mine. This is the students, yours, your grandkids, their grandkids after that. We want this college to go on for 40 plus years, as it has already, and continue to develop programs and continue to offer education so that our people can become successful. Phase 2 is the renovation of the student services area that we have right now. So, that also is going to open up more classroom space in career and technical education. We're hoping to get a simulator for truck driving or heavy equipment operation. And then phase 3 would be the Center of Innovation for Career and Technical Education, and that would be the four-stall building that I talked about earlier. So that would be about $2.5 million. So what we're looking at, and I talked to council before in a small roundtable with 6 of the council members, that we were looking at $4.7 million. Right now, the college is moving forward with that construction. We got roughly about $10 to $11 million from Department of Education and the Bureau of Indian Education for COVID funds. None of that is for construction. They said specifically, you cannot use that for construction. So what we've had to do is be creative, as we are with tribal people, and we used funds, leveraged funds to replace some of our general fund budgeted items that are allowable, and then we moved those allowable expenses off into an unobligated account called construction. So that's how we developed for that $4.7 million. We're not there yet, but we will get there. However, the $2 and the $2.5 million that I have in phase 2 and phase 3, that's what we're asking the tribe to allocate for us, so that we can make this project, this $4.7 million project, into that much. And the numbers there, I believe it's like 14 million when it all comes out. So we're using these funds to really expand upon these services that we provide for the college. So here's a picture of the college as it stands. You can see the dome and the drum group there. In between that is where the student center is going right now. And this is a fly-through of what that student center would look like in a conceptual drawing. Some of you have seen this already, some of you have not. And it's, like I say, it's a beautiful building. And to be honest, it's something to be really appreciated by and proud of for our students. That's what it's about. It's for our students and for the future of the college and the Sisseton, Wahpeton, Oyate in terms of academic and career and technical education. So just a meeting area that you can come in, have a pop or coffee or some food, and then in the back, this is a nice little terrace area where a lot of different things can take place, but student-centered is the whole idea behind this. So this is a rough drawing of what that four-stall building would look like. It's not like it's going to be some Taj Mahal or something like that. It's going to serve its purpose. It's going to have concrete on it, and then we'll be able to put those buildings up. The houses inside, 2 and 3 bedroom houses, or whatever size that the tribe feels that they need. And this is a planned project. Expenditures, as I was saying before, if you take a look on the left-hand side under the Sisseton-Wahpeton College and the Sisseton-Wahpeton Housing Authority, these are the funds that we have that are basically going to go towards. And one of the gals that came up to me earlier was talking about how can we get free college for our members? This is how, right here. That's what we're doing. That's what we've been working on since 2019, 2020. And we have allocated money for that. That's our plan, that when you go to college at Sisseton-Wahpeton College as a Sisseton-Wahpeton member, you will not pay for college. There are going to be certain things that you will have to pay for, but we have all kinds of financial aid that you can apply for. And that's the other thing that we're working for, is making sure that you have applied for every single grant that is known to man, the Pell grants, the higher education grants, American Indian College Fund. A lot of those monies are left untouched because we're simply not applying for them. So that's one of the things that we're doing as a tribal college too, is making sure that our employees are doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that our students are applying for those grants, because you're probably going to get them. And that's the bottom line. Now that goes above and beyond the tuition. That's what we're planning on doing with the COVID funds, is taking, and we're paying for your tuition. So any monies that you get are going to look for, whether or not you're housing, which we have dorms for 35 to 36 students, food allowance, gas, whatever it takes in order to go to school. So the rest of those numbers, and I handed those out, so you can look at those. What we're looking at with Sisseton-Wahpeton Oyate is just asking for that $4.7 million so that we can make this project an exceptional, outstanding, excellent program that is going to feed this tribe in terms of education for so many years to come. And so that's my spiel. And like I say, I wanted to try to do this as fast as I could, so that if we have any questions that you want to ask, or if you want to, have a student come up, by all means, now's that time.
I'm going to go over to Curtis, representing Long Hollow District. He had his hands up. You have a question, Curtis? Floor is yours. Then after Curtis, I'm going to turn the floor over to Dion, representing Lake Travis District.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there were about, I believe, 6 council representatives when we asked the college to come over and do their presentation with us. And one of the things that really struck out at me was the tuition for our membership, because we all know that our dropout rate is high, and we struggle with kids finishing even a 2-year program. So one of the things that we went in debt with was our tuition free. And I think if they do that, it frees up money for them to do other things, like maybe get a house or a reliable vehicle. And we're always stressing that we need to support our youth. And I think this is a big opportunity for us to do that right now, and to make this happen, because it not only, we not only grow our own here, but we grow our college as well. And we want our college to be put back on a map to say, hey, this is a place I want to go. And this is a place I feel comfortable going, because it's inviting. The student center is going to be that place for that. Not to mention a facelift for our college moving forward. And it's just an opportunity for us to grow. And I think with this little bit of boost, it will do that. And it'll make it more attractive. We talked about that at length too, looking at the college and making it more inviting, doing a little facelift on there. So I really believe that with your guys' support with the college, I think this is going to happen, and it needs to happen. It probably needed to happen a long time ago, but that's neither here nor there. So we have a good opportunity to do something good for our younger generation coming up, our young leaders that are going to be here on our reservation, to have something to look forward to going to, and really completing. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Long Hollow representative, for those words. I'm going to go over to, in order, Dion, then Madam Vice Chair, then after Madam Vice Chair, I'm going to go to Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when we were approached regarding the Student Center, one of the things that I was really glad about is that it's going to be this, and like your ex officio board member said, that it will be inviting. One of the things that probably a lot of people don't realize is that when you're in college, when I was at University of Minnesota Morris, that social aspect of going to college is vitally important. The educational piece, of course, that's why you're there, but the social aspect is vital, because young people and old people, but we as human beings, we really need that social connection. And the way that it's designed, I just believe that it will be for retention, but also to help our students to be successful. I can't tell you how many hours I spent in the student center, in the minority student center at University of Minnesota Morris when I was working on my bachelor's. Those things, those opportunities for social interaction will really save you, especially during finals week and those things. And I just want to tell the students, thank you so much for coming and being here with us. It's a really nice reminder of the foundation of our tribe, but also where we're going. And I'm just really glad you're here. I can't tell you how uplifting it is to see you wearing your masks and your shirt, and I'm just very proud of you, and thank you for committing not only to yourselves and your families, but to the tribe and getting that education. And I just want to really encourage you, and just when it gets tough, just remember why you're doing it and keep going. Very proud of each and every one of you. And Dr. Azure, thank you so much for your leadership, because you've really come a long ways in a really short amount of time. And we recognize the hard work. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dion. Going over to Madam Vice Chair, floor is yours.
So Dr. Azure, the length of time I've been sitting here on council since you've been on board, you have helped me, not only as a tribal member, but as a leader, for the first time in a while, see a really true vision with our college. You have pulled us together. You have, every time you come to us, you are putting your reports together, and you're taking the time and the effort to make sure that we see what you see. And I appreciate that. I see that we're investing in our future. This is a tremendous return on investment. It may cost us something today, but we're speaking and investing into the future of our youth and our community. When I look at these plans, you're filling the gaps in the areas that we as leaders sit here, have to deal with, because these are areas of improvement. And so you're giving us that avenue and that resource to be better at what we do. And I see it. And as you come up and present, when you do, I get a clearer and clearer picture. And I want you to know that I appreciate you and your team, and I support this 100%, because it is an investment well worth it. And I want to thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Moving on to Madam Secretary.
Damian. Dr.
Azure?
Yes?
Did you have anything to say with that?
Yes, I thank you. I thank you all very, very much, like I say, for the time that was here. I wanted to add one more thing that I forgot to mention. We're on call for you, and whatever program it is that you happen to think that the tribe needs, we're here to hear your voice. One of the voices I heard about, it seemed like 6 months ago, maybe it was less than that, about the addiction, Dakota Pride, and the lack of counselors that were there, and that we're really going to need to beef up in the future. And so the question was whether or not we could reach out to another institution and ask if they could support us in that endeavor. We have it. We've created it. Addiction studies is part of our programming. We've created, we've got instructors. It's on the schedule for the spring so that you can take those 27 credits in addiction counseling. You will become a certified addiction counselor, not a licensed one that can start their own business, but you can move forward on that. And so we support you when you ask, if it's possible. So that's just another thing that I wanted to add to the presentation. But again, thank you from all of our hearts for this opportunity.
Madam Secretary, then Iagapta, then back to Curtis. He wants to share his thunder. But before that, I'm going to turn it over to Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Dr. Azure. You've led the college down a good road, and the progression that it's moving is really commendable. And I like the idea of growing our own, and you're instituting that programming, the academics that is going to help us succeed here locally, where our people can become employed, with these different avenues that we have here. And I want to thank the students for coming. And I just wanted to say, I totally support this too, 100%. And I'd like to hear from one of the students. Thank you.
Akeisha Peters.
All right, good to see little Mikey Peters.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
Hecha hamata ga tokna machisna haya wati. Hey, makoche de ya wa chinchni. Decha hecha SWC da korea spema kapi. Hey Kau ya te wasna obo da ke waki do. Hey, this plan he was stekte. Hey, wasna hey was stek ya pikte. This plan here it's really good. It touches on a lot of aspects that like personally even there's some really important things that this is going to cover. So in this expansion they're doing, the Dakota Studies is going to be placed in front. Right now we're kind of in the back, upstairs in the back corner, but all of our language teachers in this entire community, from Teoshpazina to the immersion school, all came through the Dakota Studies program at SWC College. And it's really good. I could go and talk with 6 of my cousins now. Go talk Indian, go talk to the elders, no problem. And then this college facilitates that. And now we're gonna have a space with this new expansion to have an elder room, because the elders are always with us. And another thing with the housing development, one of our faculty members in Dakota Studies, he doesn't have a house for his family. He's a tribal member, but he has nowhere to live. And with this new building, they're gonna be building 4 houses a year. That'll add up over the years, and he'll get a place to live, and it's gonna stack that. Another thing is, sorry. Lived in enemy slum housing my whole life, and I ain't got no money. And then my dad's a teacher with like 8 kids, so it's good to go to school here, and it's my expenses are covered by the Dakota Studies program. But one thing we really don't want to do is make our own people pay to learn the language. We don't like doing that, but that's just what we have to do at this point, because I don't really understand it. But anyways, going forward with free tuition, we're not gonna have to do that no more. And then another thing, a lot of my peers, we don't want to leave. We love it here. We don't want to go to college nowhere else. We get hunting here, fishing, get to talk Indian, feel good. Hanana peck that.
He's a hard guy to follow. Madamia. I got Susie over here, then Curtis.
Thank you for all the hard work that you guys have accomplished, and it was great to hear somebody that is a youth speaking our Dakota language. I would like to congratulate the student that received that scholarship from the Presbyterian Church. We went on record this weekend to award another scholarship to one of our students at our college. So thank you for the good work.
Curtis?
Yeah, I can't follow that either, Keisha. Watch day. It's good to hear from our young students like that. You know, it just. I've been in the education department for 15 years before I got into leadership, and let me tell you, the kids, you learn a lot from the kids as much as they learn from you, and sometimes more, because they put you back down there at that level again, you know. And so, and I've had these guys in school, and 3 of you guys anyway, and let me tell you, it keeps you young. And so I just want to congratulate you guys, and I wish you nothing but the best in anything you guys do. You know, sky's the limit for you guys. And with that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the 4.7.
So move to approve the 4.7 million out of the ARPA funds to assist with the projects for the System Wapton College. Second by Madam Vice Chair. Question by Tokonoma.
Yes.
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 There you have it, Dr. Iger. Congratulations. Thank you, council and executives. If you could go around and just face or just fist bump or just give the after you guys' fist bumps, just make sure you use your hand sanitizers. Just want to make sure, I want to keep everybody safe. Dr. Azure, before you go, I'd like to say a couple words. Dr. Azure, since I have some of your students here and your faculty staff here, that as a high school dropout, and I got my GED over here at the college, and because of peer pressure, I couldn't go on to college here at the System Wapton College. But I went on to the Changadeshka Jikana Community College, and you're there, my instructor at the time. And you know how small that building was. And from your leadership then and your guidance as a student from as you're my instructor at the time, that I got a chance to experience the college life to prepare me to go on to UND with my undergrad and my master's degree. So I just want to make sure that I'll never forget that too. And it's an honor to see you come over here with a vision to continue to make this work for our students and to grow the facilities over there. So I commend you, just hang in there. And I appreciate your board and working with you, especially for the students. I know you have the heart for the students, so that's why you're there. The Creator put you in a position there for you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Unbelievable. Moving on to our agenda. I know I got SDSU. I didn't know you were from SDSU. I thought you were from from the college over here, since you're wearing blue. So whoever is presenting, whenever you're ready, make sure you utilize our hand sanitizer. Make sure you turn your mic on. It's gonna turn green like what I have here is to your right, the button to the right, because we do have a listening audience out there. Curdy, the mic two's on that.
Good morning, and thank you for having us. My name is Nicole Beaver, and I'm the Assessment and Grant Specialist for the WIKINI Initiative, and we're so grateful that you had us here this morning. I think it's great luck that we came here right after the college already. I feel like we learned so much from them, and we're dying to start some new conversations about ways that we can partner with one another and help them achieve their dreams and make sure that our students are on the path that they want to be on, that's best for them. So grateful to be here, and we have a few of us here as well, so I'll let everyone introduce themselves.
Itakie Selena Vera Makiapi, Sisituan Wakpetuan Oyate Hamacha, Yankton, South Dakota Hamataha. Hello everyone, my name is Selena Vera. I'm an old here, Sistem Wapton Oyate, but I was born and raised in Yankton, South Dakota, and I'm the program coordinator at the American Indian Student Center at SDSU.
Taigwe Daka Erica Daka Burikan Taino of the Yukayaki Wainia and a member of the United Confederation of Taino People. Today, to be transparent, I was the director of the American Indian Student Center at SDSU, and I'm in the middle of transitioning as the executive director of Native Student Success at AHAC, but I strongly support and believe in the WIKINI initiative, and it'll still be in my job duties to help support all of these things that I heard here today, as well as SDSU's initiative. So I'm helping my team transition and speaking with them today. Hahom.
Well, thank you again for having us this morning. And the image that I have up on the screen is actually of our American Indian Student Center at SDSU. And we're soon hoping to have our grand opening for this facility, but COVID has kept pushing that back for us for a time. But I wanted to share that with you because this is really our students' home away from home when they come to SDSU. And finding that sense of home is so important when they come to a university away from their home. And so we really wanted this opportunity. WIKINI is not new anymore. It's been around for several years now, but we wanted this opportunity to come and speak with you so that we could learn more about ways in which we could be better serving the community. So we wanted to share a little bit about the work that we're doing on campus and then open it up to questions about the work that we're doing there. So this is just kind of an overview of what we'll be covering today. The Wakini Initiative, Wakini means a new beginning, and Wakini is really our way of giving back to the people. And if, Erica, if you want to kind of explain a little bit about how Wakini was founded and began.
I'm loud enough, you don't need the speaker, but sure. So as you all know, the Moral Act of 1862 is the first point where the government decided to take indigenous lands and give them to institutions, educational institutions. South Dakota put SDSU as the first land grant institution in 1881, and so they receive funds every year, revenue essentially from the land that was Dakota land. So in 2016, President Dunn, who's an enrolled member of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe, decided that he wanted to take those funds and put them back into relationships with the tribal communities and for scholarships for our students, as well as providing free credits, graduate credits for TCU faculties. So once Nicole gets into this, she'll talk about those three different areas more in depth, but this was President Dunn's way of theoretically doing that sort of land back, right? We can't hand the land back as the institution, but he's going to take that funding and put it back into the communities that send their children to us every year.
Goals of the Wakini Initiative. The first goal is to transform our university to make sure that it is a welcoming place for all of our tribal students, because we know that our public universities aren't always that welcoming space. Our faculty and staff aren't always aware of the issues that our students face, and they need to be. So that's a key part of it, providing that professional development and training so that our staff are prepared to better serve our students. Second, we want to make sure that our students are successful and that we get them on the path, whatever path that is. So if that path is to Sisseton College, not to SDSU, that's the path we want our students on. We want to make sure that they're successful in whatever form that is. So if it's us creating a collaboration that helps them stay close to home, that's what we want for our students. If it's a pathway that takes them to Sisseton and then on to SDSU from there, then that's the path we want our students on. So whatever form we can create that student success in. So we are supporting them through the recruitment process. We're supporting students once they're at the university and providing them the programs that they need to succeed, and then helping them transition on to whatever the next step is, whether that is more school in a graduate program, whether that's in the workforce, whatever form that looks like for them, we want to get them on that pathway. And then finally, we want to strengthen relationships with all of our communities so that we can better serve and bring our resources back to you. So we really are here with open hearts to learn from you. What could we be doing to better serve here in Sisseton?
Recruitment at SDSU. So one of the first programs that we developed, and actually was developed by Morgan Catlett Osborne, who is in the audience but is not speaking today. She created SDSU to bring admissions counselors, our American Indian recruitment coordinator, housing employees, and the financial aid employees out to the tribes for any student that may not know how to do the FAFSA. And this is for any student, regardless of where they're going to go to college, just kind of getting them through all of those first steps, where to apply, how to do the financial aid pieces. If they are attending SDSU, what housing, like residential life will be like, and the cost, and how to get grants and scholarships for that as well. We also, again, through the Wakini Initiative, have a very specific recruitment coordinator that goes out to the tribal communities. Her name is Sarah Badwayer, and she is from Cheyenne River. And she goes out, speaks to the tribal governments, the tribal colleges, and through the high schools as well. And she does that all throughout the year. We also are starting a summer program and attempting to partner with the Lakota Youth Development on that. They're out of the Rosebud Sue tried, and then COVID hit, so we're still trying to make that work, of course. And I'm not sure. Oh, the scholarships. Okay, so the scholarships. We do hold we hold MOUs with the tribal colleges to ensure that we reserve scholarships for each of the tribal colleges in South Dakota for transfer students. So anyone transferring from any of the tribal colleges will receive a $5,000 a year scholarship for up to 3 years, and then an automatic renewal of that scholarship if they plan to go on for grad school. And that would be for another additional 3 years. For first-time students, we give $5,000 a year for up to 5 years. However, we also had an amazing donor disendow matching dollars for those scholarships, so that if ever a student comes to us and says, I'm still retaining a balance, we do not want them to take student loans, so that donor will cover the difference, so that our students never have to take out the student loans, because we know we don't want our students to leave already with $5,000 a year. Student loans can be $25,000, and that's a huge amount. I have enough student loans to know. It'll just die with me. But yeah, so that's some of the pieces that not only did WOKINI provide the scholarships, it encouraged donors in the local Brookings community to match. And so we were able to endow $20 million worth in scholarships so that our students, tribally enrolled in South Dakota, never have to take out student loan debt.
So the American Indian Student Center, that was a new building built with the private donor funds and with the adding on to the reallocation of the land grant funds. We got to get this huge, beautiful building on our campus, right in the heart of campus, next to our dorms. And that was opened up in June 2020. And now that campus restrictions are kind of lessened with vaccines out, we've been able to use our building, and we have so many more students in our center. So with my job, I'm the program coordinator. And so I basically hang out with the students all day while they're in between classes and after class. So my main goal is to kind of create that community in the building, the Tioshpae, because they're all the way from home, from their own separate communities. Some of them actually come with their own cousins or siblings, but making sure that everyone knows that all of our students know that they're all related, they're all relatives, and it's important to support each other and be with each other through this hard time of going to college, especially during this pandemic. So we do academic, social, and cultural programming, providing tutors, free tutoring for them, so they don't have to worry about paying those fees. And then we have social programming. We have 2 student organizations, the ACES chapter, and then ASA, the American Indian Student Association. They have a lot of events every week, twice a week. ASA is responsible for planning a Wachipi every spring, which will be April 9th and 10th this year. And, just creating and building that community. And then cultural activities. We want to make sure, that they're not stepping away from that when they leave home. So, providing those resources to, learn together. A lot of our students don't really know some of the our culture and our ways, so to make sure that they're connecting with each other and they learn from each other. So we have beading circles. We're bringing in someone who does quill work. We had ceremony just a couple of days ago, actually. Some students are having a hard time, so bringing that into our space and allowing them to be themselves in our center.
And then the center does a great deal of advocacy work for our students on campus, and through the center, we are also, and the Wakini Initiative, we're also developing a professional development for all faculty and staff to take, so that everyone has the opportunity to learn about the Usheti Shakui culture, about our students, and give some real practical advice on here's how you better support our students so that they can take that out into their classrooms and their workspaces and really be that welcoming, supportive environment that SDSU needs to be in order to better serve our students.
So I'm just going to talk about the TCU faculty scholarships, just because I came from Lower Brule Community College. I was the chief academic officer there when SDSU started that program, and it was amazing. I don't know if any of you've ever dealt with this here in this community, but we were hit hard when accreditation, HLC decided you have to have 18 credits in a certain field to be able to teach that. So a lot of my faculty members had been teaching forever, and then they turned around and said they're no longer qualified. And so we partnered with SDSU and expanding the circles and Wakini to provide 18 graduate credits for free for TCU faculty. And so they were able to do that online or independent study so that they wouldn't have to leave the communities. And they could stay in their communities and stay teaching at the tribal colleges. And so we still do that today, and hopefully that's something that we all can continue to partner with to provide to those tribal colleges in your communities.
And then another partnership opportunity that I wanted to share with today is our pharmacy department asked me to come and share with you that they have been named a research center through a grant. And so what this means is they will be sending out RFPs probably by the end of the year or maybe early January for opportunities for research in drug discovery or opportunities to train researchers. So if that's something that would be useful to you to be able to train your own researchers to have here in your community, that's an opportunity that could be achieved through that research center. And also there'll be opportunities for training for entrepreneurial opportunities to train in those skills as well. So there will be official RFPs coming out in the future, but they ask that we share that with you so you know that that's coming up. And then through our Wakini office, we will reach out specifically to share that information to make sure that if you have individuals in the community or you have through the college or here others who want that training or want to go after some of those opportunities, we can help facilitate that and make sure that you're entered into those opportunities, because I don't know that I fully even understand what they're going to be researching, but it sounds like a really great chance to help develop some skill sets. The other thing I wanted to share about another collaboration opportunity is through the Wakini Initiative, we offer our faculty and staff the chance to apply for Wakini Challenge grants. These are $10,000 grants, and the person applying does need to be faculty or staff at SDSU, but the partnerships that they create with the challenge grants can really go anywhere. And I wanted to share with you just an example of the way here that we were able to connect one of our challenge grant recipients right here with the tribe. And so Sherry, I hope you're still listening on YouTube, but we've been working with Sherry Johnson. I had the opportunity to come and interview her for our professional development project. And just as Sherry and I were chatting, she mentioned how she would love to develop a more updated history of the tribe. She said, we have a tribal history, but there's some problems with that document. And as I was leaving, I was just thinking, there's got to be a way SDSU can help with this. We're a university. You would think research would be something we can do, but SDSU does not have a master's degree in history. We do not have a PhD in history. And so I was just kind of at a loss. How can we help with this opportunity? And it really came back to a student making this possible. One of our students wants to be a tribal education director herself someday. She's from Flandreau. And I just thought, well, I've got to introduce her to Sherry because Sherry will have a thing or two to teach her. And but also this student is a researcher. She's learned those research skills as an undergraduate at SDSU, and she is actively working on one of our challenge grants with the library right now. And in speaking to that student and speaking to Sherry, we discovered that we would be able to use our challenge grant dollars to pay our students, so she'll be reimbursed for our work, and she will be able to do that archival research and develop a document that will be able to be shared right back here in Sisseton to help support whatever you need to use that document for. And so just that conversation, I mean, to me, that's the most important thing we can do here today is let's talk with each other and figure out what skills do you have, what skills do we have, and how do we put them together to make this a really great thing. So I'm really excited that we were able to put this together with that particular project. And who knows what other opportunities we could create through those challenge grant opportunities or beyond. I mean, it can go much bigger than just those $10,000 grants, but there's a lot of ways that if we know and you know what it is we're trying to accomplish, we can problem solve together and figure out a way to move forward together. So I'm excited to share that. I'm so grateful for Sherry for sharing that with me and be willing to partner with our student and give her some mentorship there as well. And finally, we're open to new conversations. We're here with open hearts. We're here to listen and learn and be creative and figure out how we can move forward together. And so I think we'll just open it to your questions, whatever questions you have of us or anything you would want to share with us.
Any questions or comments coming from council or execs for the presentation? Madam Secretary.
I had a question going back to the scholarships. Is that an automatic $5,000 for a new student for 5 years, or are these competitive, or what do they need to do to acquire those scholarships?
We strongly believe, myself and my team, when we created this process, that it should not that it would be need-based, not merit-based. And so it is not based on, we want the students that are going to need it the most to have it. And with the donors' assistance, with that $20 million, we don't have to have a very competitive process. We just need them to get their applications in, and that seems to be the hardest part right now. So we just kind of walk them through it. As long as they get all of their paperwork done, they get that $5,000. So, and then if they find that they're still in need after that $5,000, we have the Wawa Kia funds that donor gave that'll match. So we have so many, for example, this year that we ended up giving, instead of just the 5, we gave from 6 to 9,000. And so the 5 is an automatic, yes, to answer that question, but so much more if they still need it.
Thank you.
And probably the hardest part in that is students don't always feel comfortable asking. And that's really what it takes, is to ask, but our staff is amazing at also asking them the question, like, are you struggling here? Can we help? And then stepping in and helping in that way.
Go ahead, Susie, from the Big Coulee District.
Once they attain that scholarship, do they have to maintain a certain grade point average to keep that scholarship? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, we do have a minimum of 2.0 for GPA that they need to maintain. And so in this center, Selena's amazing. I feel like she downplayed a lot that she does, but she keeps them. So many of our students have said, even when they're struggling, what's kept them there are the people inside the center. We get them tutoring, mentoring, if we need to speak out and advocate on their behalf with a professor. So we do require the 2.0 to continue, but we help in many ways to try to keep them at that 2.0. We have had students who went below it. We do not remove the scholarship, and we have not since the start of it in 2018. We just work with the student, and we'll get early alerts from the professors when they go below that 2.0 or a missing class, and that way we can stay in contact with them. So our first Wokini cohort had an 80% retention rate. Thank you.
Going over to Gypsy.
So my question's not about scholarships, but you had mentioned earlier in the beginning about how the Wakini project is to create a safe space for tribal peoples. With that said, what is the process or what is done to help the students who do experience racism or some type of trouble related, in that area? What is available for them to address that situation?
So first them telling us, because it happens, but we don't know when, because we're kind of like mostly in the building, and it's a large campus. So when we do hear, we kind of just get their story, what their experience was, and then reaching out to all appropriate people. So reaching up to higher administration, if it's from a faculty, reaching out to that faculty, that department. If it's from a student, figuring out how we can, advocate for our students and, giving them that history, because, our students sometimes don't have that confidence yet and to speak up for themselves. And so I was speaking for them and then giving that education.
Great. Yeah, I'll add too. So for example, and I'll no longer be with them, so hopefully they will take on this fight without me. But we will get a student who will say, for example, it just happened just a few weeks ago that they felt that their roommate was having microaggressions, racism. The number one rule with us is never invalidating the student. If they say it happened, it happened. And so we contacted Residential Life and had them basically give our student a single so that they wouldn't have to continue. We gave them the option of being with another roommate, but they chose single. So, and that was done same day. We've marched into faculty's offices without notice. And I think just the general education through all the training that we talked about. We now go to each department specifically and talk to, for example, admissions and show them what they do that may be harmful, problematic, racist, and all of those things. So we do that for each department. But the number one thing is when our student says that it happened, we believe that it happened and then take appropriate steps, for sure.
That is so excellent. Thank you very much, because that's one of the biggest problems I think a lot of students have faced, is that it's been downplayed and, oh, you must have been mistaken or whatever. But so yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you, Gypsy, representing the Bedland District. Moving on to Dallas, representing the Emily Swim District.
I apologize for being out. I had personnel to take care of, but the part that I did catch was that Dr. Johnson has been in communication about getting a history degree or working on some type of a new degree for history, master-wise, or can you touch on that just real quick?
Yeah, so it wasn't a degree creation, but we have a particular student who is a student of history who has developed those research skills, and so she's helping on a specific research project, doing some archival work to research the tribal history for Sisseton, and then she's going to develop a document that will share her research. So it's just kind of a one-time project developing that history work, but who knows where this project could take us next as well, but
And
not any degrees.
Thank you. I appreciate that for the clarification. Sorry, like I said, I was in and out. And I'm a jackrabbit myself. I graduated. And so yeah, I got my degree in history and minor in American Indian Studies. And so it jumped out at me because that was a pilot project for American Indian Studies program. So I also appreciate too that, you're creating a safe environment for Native American students. Just during my time there, it was kind of troublesome with some racial tensions, and so it felt good when all my friends and we had to band together on all these things, and so that was really good. And then the American Indian Center was always really great place to hang out, and I heard now they got a new home, so that's always so exciting. And so I just want to say too, though, that whenever a racial issue came up regarding Native Americans, the administration at SDSU was really quick to respond, and they handled it very professionally. So I just wanted to put that out there too. Thank you.
Thanks, Dallas. Appreciate it. Anything else coming from council? Appreciate our, go ahead, Madam Secretary.
I was just wondering if you brought any brochures or any informationals.
We should have, but we did not. I'll bring some up next time I come up here.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming in and sharing your information with us. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
We'll be there.
Keep in contact.
Thank you.
Members of council, before we go on break, I'm going to call on Randy because I know he has to go to a meeting this afternoon. So, Randy, if you could keep it short, we appreciate it. Sorry for the wait, and I appreciate your patience. So, whenever you're ready, I'll turn the floor over to you.
We ready?
Yes, Randy, floor is yours.
Okay, Haumatakiapi. Thank you, Chairman and leadership and council for this time. First thing I want to talk about is something I had mentioned last meeting was to temporarily reduce the hours of operation, to optimize clinical staffing and maintain a high level of quality and safe care. We are temporarily modifying our hours of operation until further notice. We will temporarily reduce our hours by 2 hours each day, Monday through Friday, closing the clinic at 6 p.m. rather than 8 p.m. And temporarily close the 4-hour Sunday clinic and make the 4-hour Saturday clinic into an 8-hour clinic. We will still have 8 hours of clinic service on the weekends, all on Saturday. This temporary reduction of 10 hours of operation per week from 68 hours to 58 hours is due to limited medical staffing. And lastly, to close on Monday, October 11th, which is a federal holiday, Native American Day. This temporary plan is to address our immediate urgent need for being short-staffed in the medical department. So there's a little breakdown. Current hours of operation, Monday through Friday, 8 to 8. We're proposing that to be 8 to 6 on the second block there. Saturdays 1 to 5 and Sunday 1 to 5. We're proposing Saturday an 8-hour shift, 8 to 5, closed on Sunday and closed on this coming Monday. So basically reducing 10 hours of service per week. Our medical staff shortage, and I'll be brief, I know it's lunchtime, but I just want to let you see that our medical staff currently consists of a clinical director who is also a part-time pediatrician, and he's actually been in the clinic full-time now probably the last 4 to 5 weeks, and simply to help out seeing patients, seeing the children. One part-time OBGYN, 2 permanent full-time family practice nurse practitioners. One works Monday through Thursday, the other one works Tuesday through Friday. And then 1 part-time nurse practitioner who is a family practice and also sees women's health. That's it for our permanent staff. We do have 1 physician contracted that's internal medicine. He started on Monday. He's here until October 22nd. And then we have another physician that's here either on a Saturday or a Sunday, not both days. And then we have 1 full-time contracted nurse practitioner who I think her tour will end in November. And then we have another part-time nurse practitioner that works Mondays and Thursdays. So when you add it all up, we do not have a minimum of 6 permanent providers per day, which really plays havoc on our clinic. And we do have active contracts. We have 3 contracts for physicians and 3 contracts for nurse practitioners. And due to the nationwide shortage of healthcare, the burnout, we are just finding it very difficult to bring in even contractors. So when I started in October of 2017, we had 2.5 medical staff. We had Dr. Williams, we had Dr. Crawford, and Dr. Peterson, and Dr. Peterson being part-time. And we had 7 to 9 contracted doctors or mid-levels. Since COVID, you cannot find those contractors. Back then, the contracting companies would call me and ask, can we place someone at your facility? We can't get anybody due to the staffing shortage. That's why we're having to go down this route. Now keep in mind, this is temporary. The good news is we have made a selection for a permanent nurse practitioner, and it sounds like that person is going to come on either in November or December. We're still negotiating a start date. They are from the Britain area, so they're familiar with this region. And we're in salary negotiations with the family practice physician out of Minnesota. So we're trying to nail down that. So cross our fingers, by December, January, we may have 2 more permanent staff, a physician and a nurse practitioner. And obviously, we're still trying to get our locums here as well. So that's the situation with the clinic hours. The rest of the information, if you want me to go through, is just testing and vaccine information. I did want to state also that the budget for fiscal year 2022, we're on a continuing resolution. You probably heard that already, from October 1 through December 3rd, which is 64 days of funding, and that's about 17.5% funding of our last year's recurring base. Surveillance testing, Ms. Crawford had asked about that a couple of weeks ago. We've been offering surveillance testing Mondays 9 to noon in the west parking lot. I think we started that about 2.5 weeks ago. And lastly, I had a community member come see me the other day talking about paying for lodging costs for family members when we refer people away. In the past, we had a contract with a motel in Fargo. I think it was called Sand Hills or something like that. They closed or went under new management, and we haven't been able to establish another contract with that motel. The vendors prefer credit cards, and we don't have the mechanism to use credit card. It's a purchase order, so I have instructed my staff to work with headquarters, Aberdeen and headquarters, and the surrounding cities, Minneapolis, Sioux Falls, Fargo, and identify those motels that will be willing to accept a contract and accept medical purchase orders. We have the funding, we have COVID funding to pay for room and board for one family member of the patient who has been referred out. It's just finding out the mechanism to transfer that money from IHS to that entity. Vaccinations, we're up to approximately 41.5% of age-specific 12 years and older. Obviously, we want to hit community immunity of 85 to 90%, but the positive thing is that's a 4% increase from last month. So I think the incentive, the shot incentive has helped. We've seen a lot of people come in and get their shot records, and so we've seen a nice little increase of giving vaccinations out. Tribal advocacy, or the patient advocacy work group. Our first meeting was last Thursday, September 30th. CDP, Mr. Cantos, and Carlene Toll, who is the nurse from Compass Care, the behavioral health portion, was there along with myself for a brief period of time. Rose Gaikowski and Mary White, and Miss Denise Redhorse from the community was there. And CDP was in their strategic plan, wanted to look at a advocacy program. So I think this is fulfilling those needs. The goal is to open up communication with the council and tribal community members at large, and to increase training on cultural awareness. So that's what we were talked about in the first meeting. We look for input and support from the tribal Secretary Thompson and Director Leah Fighton as well. The next meeting is to be determined, so if we can get those dates to me, we get that arranged. Any questions? I can go over more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just really quickly, can you go over your plan to recruit staffing, to recruit care providers, just very briefly? Thank you.
So we have actively been, well, actively for us. Now, obviously, if we had a bigger budget and a recruiter, we would do more. Our clinical director is our main person to recruit and hire. And since probably 5 weeks, he's been in clinic seeing patients, seeing kids to free up the other providers. He's on the phone at least 2 or 3 times a week, if not more, and after hours, trying to recruit names that come to us. So every Tuesday we have an HR call with Aberdeen area, and they will present to us any candidates who are interested in applying to Great Plains, specifically Sisseton. And we may get 5 or 6 physician applications, but when you start filtering through them, they don't meet our credentialing requirements. They either have database hits, they have tort claims lawsuits against them, and so we're not going to go down that path. So we try to weed them out before they go in front of the medical exec committee, before they get submitted to governing body for approval. So we are receiving applicants, but they are not meeting the mark. And that's for permanent staff. Nurse practitioners, it's a similar process. Obviously, we prefer physicians because I think that's one of the main talking points when we have our exit interviews with the providers who have left. They're asking for more physician coverage because our patients are complicated and we need physicians. So we are first and foremost trying to recruit for physicians, MDs. And secondly, and just as important, nurse practitioners. So we meet every Tuesday. We follow up on every lead, every application, every resume that is sent to us. But of the 10 that we get sent, we probably are able to look at 2 or 3 of them. And of those 2 or 3, we're lucky if one is interested in Sisseton. When I was at a meeting earlier this summer, with all the CEOs and area leadership, they talked about taxing every service unit to fund a physician recruitment position or physician recruiter position. And ideally, that position would be able to then go out to health fairs and colleges and recruit and promote on behalf of Indian Health Service. Those facilities who have a larger medical staff have a luxury of getting medical staff involved. So when you're recruiting a doctor, it's best to have a doctor-on-doctor communication. Obviously, I talk to a lot of doctors, and I can answer a lot of questions, but when I get into specific doctor talk, I can't speak that language. So it's good. And our clinical director, Dr. Lesueur, is doing the best he can to communicate those needs to those providers. So we meet every Tuesday. Matter of fact, we meet every Thursday to talk specifically on contracting locums coverage. So it's not that we're sitting back idly. Could we do more? I think if we had more bodies, we could probably do more boots on the ground recruitment by going out to health fairs and colleges, which is something that is in our plan, but we're just so restricted with staff that we need that staff at the facility as opposed to go out. So hopefully, cross our fingers, we get a couple more medical staff, we can get back. And then COVID really restricted our access to go to health fairs. In the past, we'd go to North Dakota State School of Science for dental and dental techs and whatnot, and pharmacy down in South Dakota State, Brookings. And so we'd like to get those recruitment efforts back up and running as well, post-COVID.
Anything else coming from council? Susie?
I would like to address that issue on your pharmacy. You have 12 pharmacists, people working in there, and you're asking for 2 more. Why ask for 2 more if you don't have enough doctors or practitioners working there?
We're fully staffed in pharmacy right now.
Also, Tribal Council is catching hell over, excuse the language, but we're kind of getting chewed out for the doctor shortage here. Can you address that to everyone here? Why we don't have enough doctors and practitioners to take care of our reservation?
Sure. I think I've kind of said that the last few months that I've been here. COVID. When I got here in October of 17, we had 2.5 permanent medical staff. That was it, 2.5. Dr. Williams was a clinical director, Dr. Crawford, and part-time Dr. Peterson. The rest, the other 9 providers were contractors. And as I said just a few minutes ago, those contracting companies would call me weekly, monthly, hey, we have a doctor to place there, can you take this? No, we can't, we're fully staffed. COVID hit. A mass exodus of medical providers and nurses have left the field. CDP is pressing for staff, and other medical, you go to Webster, you talk to these other CEOs, they'll tell you the same thing. It's hard to recruit, it's hard to retain as people are leaving the industry. I don't know what else to say. It's a crunch, and that's why we're having to reduce hours, because we're getting burnt out. And we need to hire more physicians, and that's been the focal point. We've lost a couple of nurse practitioners recently because they felt like the patients they were seeing were too complicated for them, that they needed to be seen by a doctor, by an MD. And so we placed our focus on getting MDs. But again, you know, it's hard to recruit to rural South Dakota. The expectation of a new doctor coming out of residency is they want the Cadillac. They want to practice inpatient, outpatient, emergency room, specialty care as they go through the residency program. We are an outpatient clinic. We don't specialize in anything. And so the providers that we get, the physicians that we get, are normally the ones who have retired, the older generation, that are looking for a clinic job. They don't want to take call. They don't want to take weekends. You know, their personal life is more important than earning that extra buck. So all of the providers that we have hired recently are of retirement age, and this is their retirement job. This is a huge national crisis, and we are being we are caught up in it just as everybody else. Sanford and Nevada, they have hundreds, if not thousands, of providers, of practicing organizations that come into their facility. They can take the hit better than a small rural facility such as ourselves, or even CDP for that matter. So, you know, I hear and respect what you're saying. We are trying to do all we can to recruit and retain and get people here. I mean, we're having to pay dollar amounts that are unforeseen 2-3 years ago. And luckily for COVID money, we do have some extra money to meet those salary increases. Locum nurses were going for $210 an hour at the peak of COVID. $210 an hour for a nurse. That's more than a physician makes. We can't afford $210 an hour for a nurse. That price has come down to about $115 for a nurse. All the big companies in the South where the COVID is more rampant, they're spending that money and getting those nurses down there.
Okay, going in order. Shannon, Madam Secretary, then Gypsy.
So my question is, how are you going to retain once you've recruited? Because when we had the former area director here and we discussed recruitment and retention, one of the things that he said was that after reading 40 pages a night of complaints from your staff and employees, that it was a hostile work environment at our service unit. So it sounds like that's what's contributing to us not having enough providers rather than COVID or anything else. So what are you going to do differently to retain these staff once they come in and prevent them from leaving because of a hostile work environment?
Well, we've undertaken some leadership training. I think we've just completed our 4th episode, our fourth training module. This was suggested by the area director, Mr. Driving Hawk, probably in July, and we just had our 4th one yesterday. It's initially with the executive team. I think it's a very good training. It talks about understanding your environment And then the second and third trainings were more about communication styles, understanding the person you're talking to, and they understand you as a person. Some people are touchy-feely, some people are more, isolated, more introverted, etc. And this last training we talked about was geared towards meeting management and how to those four things you're doing. Training sessions, we kind of go around. As well, so that we needed some leadership training, some communication training. Number two, some of the medical staff would during their exit interview would say to me, you need to listen to the medical staff more. You need to listen to what they're saying. And a lot of the medical staff, their grievance was, and again, the patients are very complicated. If we had more MDs, that would smoothen out the workload. Ideally, we'd like one MD on each team and have at least 2 mid-levels, nurse practitioners, so at least 3 providers per team. And so if we can get to more of a higher level of medical license, that's going to help alleviate some of that fear. People come to IHS, they don't understand that they're covered under the tort law, that the government will cover any liability if there's any malpractice. A lot of these providers think that they're going to lose their license because they're treating patients that might be over their head, so to speak. And so that's kind of a big fear. So internally, we're trying to match up our nurses with our providers. Historically, our nurses would rotate. So Dr. A would have Nurse A on Monday, maybe Nurse B on Tuesday, maybe Nurse C on Wednesday. And I've said, probably the last couple of months, I said I want to match up Nurse A and Dr. A, Nurse B and Dr. B, and have more of a one-on-one relationship. That will hopefully strengthen that relationship between that provider and nurse, and they will learn and grow each other's way of doing business. And hopefully that will bring some solidarity. So we're doing some things internally: education, training, communication, reorganizing the schedule. We're trying everything, Time will tell. We do what's called a plan, do, study, act. We create a plan, we study it, we do it, we study it, and we act upon it. And that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you. Going on to Madam Secretary, then Gypsy.
I just wanted to make a note. So you've always told us that IHS is a well clinic. You're a well clinic, outpatient well clinic. Yet we have patients with chronic health conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, cancer. And we have nurse practitioners, who may be afraid to address those issues with the patients. I really see this as a big problem, because if 2.5, in 2017, we had a shortage. That was before COVID. So it just seems really odd that we have the same problem after COVID, and our people are still suffering. And I know you try to help, Randy, and you do what you can to get these needs addressed. But we have some very seriously ill patients with some really living in a lot of pain. And I don't know what else is there that you can do to bring some medical doctors to IHS other than waiting for a call from Aberdeen once a week. There has to be more. I just want to make those comments. Thank you.
Yeah. So in the past, we would call upon the Commission Corps and get deployments. We haven't had any deployments here in Sisseton, but usually the Commission Corps get deployed to like FEMA, like the hurricane, earthquakes and things like that. But that is one aspect, and we are working on paperwork to see if we can't get some Commission Corps help. The thing of it is that I've worked at Rosebud before, and we had some deployments come to Rosebud, and they're there for 2 to 6 weeks. And when they first get there, there's like a week of orientation, and a lot of them are pencil pushers in their real life, their real job. They may be a nurse or they may be a provider, but they've been working at a desk at headquarters or wherever. And so that transition from being a desk jockey to seeing real patients again takes a period of time. And then when they finally get comfortable, then it's time for their deployment to end. So it's almost like, do you weigh the fact as the pros and cons? Is it worth the effort of bringing these people here 2 to 6 weeks? And what is the return on investment? We just recently brought in a internal medicine doc. He spent a week in, he's here now. He spent a week in orientation, and he's leaving us October 22nd. So we're going to pay him for 4 weeks, 1 week of orientation and 3 weeks of seeing patients. Is that a return on investment? Well, number one, in the short term, yes, because he's a experienced internal medicine physician, which will be able to see those complicated patients we're talking about. But the downside is he's only here, he's retired, and he's only here till October 22nd. So then the wheel starts all over again. We can ask for other service units to have details, which we have, but everybody's in this situation to some extent. They don't have an extra doc or nurse to send us. We talk about pharmacy. We were able to send a couple of pharmacists down to Rosebud and Pine Ridge recently to help them out in shortages because we were fully staffed in pharmacy. So if we have the ability to help, we will, but nobody else has the ability to help us now. And lastly, what I would really like to do is get more boots on the ground, is what I was talking to Ms. Crawford about, is getting out to those health fairs, getting out to those, InMeds up in University of North Dakota, University of Minnesota, University of South Dakota, those medical schools, and set up a health fair and have a meet and greet. We used to do that years ago. So that's another thing that's on our agenda. COVID kind of put a stop to that, but moving forward, we're still on a travel restriction. It's only mission critical that we are allowing staff to go on travel. And is recruitment now a mission critical? I think we can categorize that as mission critical. So those are some of the things that we're going to try to do.
Okay, a couple more, Gypsy, then I see Brenda over there.
Okay, thank you. So what the Madam Secretary had stated already, the exodus of providers has happened prior to COVID, prior to that even becoming a pandemic and before any infection started anywhere. And the other thing is, a few years ago, I had asked you, what are you doing for recruitment for Native American providers and overall just for recruitment? And at that time, you just said people weren't applying. And I think we had suggested or talked about, aren't you going to the colleges? Aren't you going to those areas to recruit these places? And you said it years ago. It sounds like that's been like more than 5 years ago that you hadn't done that. So, my question was like, I guess it doesn't matter now. The point is it hasn't been done. But, 5 years ago, why wasn't recruitment to these colleges been going on in the first place, as they should have always continued? So that's just I wanted to point that out and see, why was it stopped? Why didn't it continue sooner? And as I said, we can't blame everything on COVID. It's certainly contributing to the cause now, but all of this nationwide shortage can't be blamed on our facility losing providers prior to COVID. The other thing I thought was, with this all the people, the providers, the doctors getting burnout, I can see that they're working at hospitals where they have to work sometimes 24/7 a day, 7 days in a row, 5 days, whatever it is. I bet they would jump at the chance to work at our clinic where it's a Monday through, the weekend thing, and it's not a hospital. They'd still get to go home at night. Has that been advertised or promoted or reached out anywhere?
Yes.
And, I mean, and you had stated last time on USA.gov, that's where it's advertised. But, you know, some place down in Texas, what do they know about government jobs? The private sector may not know about government jobs. So where's the advertisement? Is there promotions or advertisements going out to all of these facilities that say, hey, go to IHS in South Dakota where you don't have to work at a hospital. You won't have to deal with deathly sick, ill patients because it's a clinic. And then that would be great because they'd be medical doctors working with our chronic care patients.
Yes, we had that conversation with the all CEOs a couple of months ago to speak to exactly what you're saying, to get more advertisements out into like the American Medical Journal and those types of publications. I don't know what if the area is waiting for a consensus, but that's something that we can start, today, tomorrow. So we'll go back and we'll start typing up some advertisements, and obviously we'll have to send them to the chain of command for approval. But we do have the funding to start those types of mass mailing publications to, whatever it's $300 for an article in the medical journal. That's something that we can do, and we will start doing that.
Great. So then another question I had and concern is some of the reasons that I had spoken with on some of the providers that have left had stated racism. So what is being done at the local facility as far as cultural awareness training, and what is acceptable, not acceptable behavior, and what is done when there are complaints of racism? How is that addressed?
Well, we do have employee orientation that we got up and running in August. We do have a recruitment and retention committee that we started up probably earlier this year. I haven't gotten any complaints on racism within the facility, even from outside the facility. So that's a new complaint to me. I'm unaware of any kind of racist behavior. I know that, you all mentioned that at a meeting towards CDP, but so this is the first I'm hearing of that.
Okay. And then my next question, Mr. Chairman, is whether or not we can declare a medical emergency situation or whatever it is due to the lack of providers. Is that an option? I don't know. So can I make a motion for that, or how does that go?
That's up to you, Gypsy, if you want to make that motion.
I guess I'd like to make a motion that we declare a medical emergency at our facility due to lack of providers.
Motion made by Gypsy. Before, I know I'm going to let Madam Vice Chair second that, but can you clarify that motion, Berlin, before I ask for a question?
I'd like to declare a medical emergency due to the lack of providers at the Woodrow Wilson Keeble Memorial Healthcare Center. And I guess, is that all I need for that? Okay. Okay.
Is there a question? Question by Gupta. Call for vote, please.
Brandon Gypsy Wana?
Yes.
Floyd Kirk Jr.?
No.
Dallas Owen?
Yes.
A. Lydia Amos?
Yes.
Dion Crawford?
Berlin, can you kind of explain what goes along with that? Because I think that was what council did when there was a pandemic, correct?
No, we've never done this before. Okay. Council declared a state of emergency for that pandemic, but never like a medical emergency at IHS. Not during my time anyway.
Okay. Yes.
Curtis Bissonette? Yes. Tribal Vice Chairwoman?
Yes.
Tribal Secretary?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion passed.
Thank you, Council and Executives.
Thank you. Those were all the questions I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Gypsy. Going on to Brenda.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank Gypsy for that. We all know survival means good health care for us. I'm going to speak from experience of working at IHS for 7 years. We've never been fully staffed. This has always been a concern prior to COVID. I know from experience, administration has a lot to do with our retaining good providers. Nobody in this room has to agree with me, and that's fine. When they talk about these modules that come into play, this is what happens when you work at IHS and you guys have internal issues. Aberdeen area will come down with these modules that everybody has to do. So my question to Randy is, one of the issues I found trying to help better our healthcare as a tribal member and as a person who utilizes that place for my own healthcare, when we're addressing internal issues, what basically happens is they give us these modules. The employees have to complete them. It takes about 2 minutes. They're not very long, extensive. You can't go in and see if this person even read through or if they're just getting it done on their break. They had us do it on our break time. But my question I always wanted to know was administration having to do these same type of modules, because what we've seen the pattern being is anytime there was internal issues, the employees were being addressed with training and people coming down to Aberdeen. The ones that had the complaints were the ones that had to better stuff. It was never the ones we were complaining about. So I felt like as an employee, we could never really address anything properly, even when they were trying to give us the tools. So my question to Mr. Jordan is, when we're having these modules come down and we're depending solely on them to alleviate or mediate any internal issues that our facility might be having, is administration doing these same types of models? So this was a question I asked as an employee, and I was never privy to it. So that's my first question.
Yes.
So administration, do they have the same type of modules, or do they have administrative type of modules? It's the same throughout the whole facility?
So there are mandatory trainings that all employees have to complete. If anything does come down the pipeline, everybody completes it. These particular training sessions that I've been talking about here just today is only for the executive team right now, and then that will be rolled out to the supervisors next. And then, according to Mr. Driving Hawk, what he stated before he left was these same modules will be, or these trainings are going to be throughout the Great Plains area. And they started with Sisseton first. So right now it's management, executive team, and then subsequently will be supervisors. And I think there is some kind of training for all staff, but they need to get through the executive staff first.
Okay, thank you for that. And then this last part is just a comment. For anybody listening and for anybody in this room that really wants to be a part of improving our health care, we have to remember that this clinic is ambulatory. When we received it, it wasn't anything that came back for a vote. The people didn't get to decide to give up our hospital. But this is the type of care that we're getting. If we don't do something to better our health care, we're not going to be in this room to fight with each other 10 years down the road. I don't know how else to say it. You got to speak in fighting terms for anybody to want to chime in, it seems like, in this room. I'm asking for all of council to listen to the people's voice when we're asking for help here. It's our relatives that we're losing. It's our people. And a lot of these people at this hospital this clinic that work there, they don't get their health care there. They don't. This is what we're stuck with. So we're asking for you to listen to resolutions, to listen to concerns, to listen to other voices at the table that have experience in this facility so we can improve it. Not every complaint up here is personally against Mr. Jordan. Not every complaint is personal. Everybody deserves good health care. Everybody should be able to voice their opinion on it without one person being offended about it, because I'm talking about your grandmother, your uncle, your cousin, your mama. We're all relatives here. All of this animosity, nobody wants to agree. Somebody agree that we survive. Somebody agree that there is a problem with our healthcare. And yes, Mr. Jordan can't fix it all. This is generational. But we are at a point now that we expect change. And if you don't like me personally, that doesn't bother me, but please listen to my concern with our health care. Because I care about your relatives like I care about mine. And I would fight for yours if they were on the street dying like I would fight for mine. And so I thank you for your time. Thank you for answering my questions, Randy. And I hope that I hope we can start making some changes to hold some accountability so we can retain some good people, because our people deserve that. We got a beautiful facility. We've always had a beautiful facility. We've just never been able to fully give us what we need to maintain our health. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda. Appreciate it. With that, I'm going to ask for a short 45-minute lunch break for the council to eat, and we'll come back at 1:30 to continue our agenda.
So motion to accept Randy Jordan's report.
So moved by Emily Sims, second by Dion, question by Susie.
And then, Mr. Chairman, we'll just have one more thing here. Randy, I do appreciate that you did follow through on our discussion last time, that you started to refer individuals out to community hospitals. So I do appreciate that, because unfortunately my son would not have been able to get an appointment, but because you contract health allowed him to get referred out to Webster, he gets taken care of a little bit better. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
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 Thank you, council and execs. We'll come back at 1:30.